Part 66. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 656. The creamy little boy was grabbed by Wu Sijuan's hair and kept begging for mercy. What kind of temper did Wu Sijuan have? This woman is so cruel that she won't even let herself go. How can she let others go? One thing to remember when getting along with Wu Sijuan is not to become a stumbling block or stepping stone to her success. Feel free to do anything else. Han Qian sat on the stone under the tree and opened the folded page. The time was blurred, but Han Qian remembered that it was the evening of December 29th, one day before the New Year. It snowed outside that day, and the snowflakes were very beautiful. Han Qian took out his cigarette case and found that there was no cigarette left. He raised his head and shouted to Wu Sijuan, who was cleaning up the little boy in the distance. "Si Guan, buy cigarettes." "Good." Wu Sijuan took out 100 yuan and handed it to the little boy and said angrily, "Go buy cigarettes. If you're slow, I'll beat you to death. Go quickly." "Why are you buying cigarettes? 100 yuan a box, whatever. Hurry up." In 3 minutes, Wu Sijuan delivered the cigarette and lit it with a lighter. Han Qian said calmly, "Okay, I've been slapped for more than 20 times. It's good to comfort and keep you by your side, so as to prevent those old guys from trying to plot your ideas. I can't fall out with them." "I know." Wu Sijuan skipped away. Han Qian lowered his head and read Xian's diary again. This one has a title. "A Dream That I Loved You." Han Qian took a deep breath. "I'm sick, I'm very sick, I feel like I'm crazy, I actually like him, I'm wrong, I'm guilty, I actually like my best friend's ex-husband, but I can't control myself, he's really nice, it's really, really, really good, I can't control my heart, I owe her and I don't know how to repay it, I made a decision, an outrageous, wrong, stupid, despicable decision, in fact, this seed it sprouted in my heart very early, I have nothing, all I can give her is this body, a body that I think is the cleanest. And has never been touched by anyone. I don't want others to ridicule him for being a virgin. But all these are my excuses, I love him, I am despicable. I chose to escape, I chose to have no contact with him in this life, I chose what I chose, I understand him, and I don't want him to be embarrassed because of me, and there is a gap between him and the warmth because of me, I am despicable, despicable, but I love him, he will never know that I love him, I have liked him from the first time we met, it was love at first sight, and it was also my unrequited love, my despicability did not make my first love stillborn flowers bloomed in my belly. But they will never bear fruit. We will never meet again, Han Qian. Tongyao loves you very much, but you must remember that Tongyao is a despicable woman and she doesn't deserve it." Han Qian smiled and whispered softly, "It's quite despicable to drug me." A gust of wind blew by, blowing up the pages of the diary. I don't know how much time has passed or what day it happened. Han Qian lowered his head and looked at the words on it, slightly lost in thought. Han Qian threatened me he wouldn't let me fall in love or contact other men, he was an idiot, but I'm not, how could I let him be in trouble because of me? I told Ji Jing, I told this Aunt Ji, whom I disliked the most, that I had a relationship with Han Qian. I didn't want to help her, I just didn't want Han Qian because of my despicability has hurt other girls. Ji Jing will have a relationship with Han Qian, and Han Qian will give half of my responsibilities to Ji Jing. Ji Jing will not marry Han Qian, she is more suitable. I don't know how to be a mistress, because I'm not even worthy of being a mistress. I just don't want to be embarrassed by rejecting other girls because of me. He is a better one. Wen Nuan, Yan Qingqing, and Cai Qinghu are all Han Qian's marriage partners. I can't help him choose, so I chose Ji Jing. Yu Shisai has a lot of opinions on this matter, but I can't help you because you will hurt Han Qian." Han Qian turned to the latest page. This page is all about anger towards Han Qian. Crazy woman, stupid man, Han Qian's body is covered with injuries, and he is still at an angry age. How can he be quiet when he goes to your house, you want to give your tenderness to Han Qian, but this big fool will be honest he won't, so I can't agree. I want to ruin your plan. Maybe Han Qian will hate me, but when, Yan, Cai, G, U, they all want Han Qian, but I don't want to get a penny from him. I am the most suitable person to take away his virginity, because I won't let him if he likes me. I won't be with him. I will even make him hate me. This is my repayment. But something seems to have gone wrong. Ji Bobo actually framed me. It was clearly her moan. Han Qian is a fool. Let him come back and quarrel with me today. Putting away the diary, Han Qian raised his head and looked at the girl standing in front of him, raised his head and grinned. You're back. Aren't you going back to Sichuan? Tong Yao stared at Han Qian with red eyes. Look at my diary. She cried again. Han Qian did not go to the nursery rhyme, but leaned against the tree with his diary and smiled lightly. I am the one who is despicable, and you are the one who is stupid. But you are absolutely right. I have indeed thought about getting married to you. Wishful thinking. The toad wants to eat swan meat. I didn't think about it, but I did. I didn't think about it, but I did eat it. Child monster, you are very smart, but why don't you use your smartness in the right place? Ah! Tanjeo stopped crying and sneered, his eyes full of sarcasm, and said with disdain. The right place? Competing with Wen Nuan for you? Trying to become the daughter-in-law of your Han family? Han Qian, please don't be so naive, okay? I said, we are all adults, we can each do what we need. That's right. What you say makes sense. As he spoke, Han Qian stood up, stretched out his hand to pinch Tong Yao's ears, narrowed his eyes and smiled. I need it now. Train station in, 50 yuan. Snapped. With a crisp sound, Han Qian looked at his slap with wide eyes and exclaimed. Your ass is so elastic. Stinky. Hooligan. You wait to enter the police station. While talking, Tanjeo took out his cell phone to call the police. As the voice on the phone sounded, Tanjeo's face became increasingly ugly. Finally, he hung up the phone and sighed helplessly, lamenting. Have you seen the wind? You didn't care. You even said that we are boyfriend and girlfriend. We can't fight against you officials. I can't run away. After finishing her words, Tanjeo turned around and left. Han Qian stepped forward and hugged Tanjeo's waist, saying softly. Child monster, can you please stop running away from now on? Tong Yao grabbed Han Qian's hand and forced it away, turning around with contemptuous eyes. You are my dad. Why should I listen to you? Remember. Nursery rhyme. Never. Never. Be. Your. Girlfriend. Mistress. I castrated you. After finishing her words, Tong Yao raised her foot, but she stopped in the office, her face turned bright red instantly, turned around and ran away, while Han Qian stood there waving to Tong Yao and smiled. Do you think you can still use it in the future? The next second Han Qian turned around and ran away. It seemed that the monster was looking for a stick in the car. Han Qian would not say anything that was not sensational. Without promises and love words, nursery rhymes will not be heard. The relationship between the two of them will never change. Maybe Tanjeo will become the mother of Han Qian's child one day, but she will tell little Han Qian something. Your father died when you were born. This was something that Han Qian had expected. Wu Sijuan and the little boy sat in the shade and looked at Han Qian, who was running away. The latter said doubtfully. Si Guan, is this your boss? Are you sure you're not lying to me? Wu Sijuan turned to look at the little boy with a pig head and frowned. You are a soft-boiled person who will never understand how powerful he is. Don't look at him. If you look at him for a while, he will dig out your eyeballs. It's just that this Miss Tong has been living beyond my expectation. It can be said that I can't figure out every idea you have, Come up with a solution for me, or I'll beat you up. Let's have dinner and watch a movie together tonight and tell you. Want to get beaten? Miss Tong, right? She is just a little girl who doesn't know how to deal with her feelings. If there is a teacher, the teacher probably won't be able to teach her. It's the same as saying it or not saying it. Your boss got beaten, I feel so happy. Haha, you still want to be beaten. Han Qian was caught by Tong Yao. Han Qian squatted on the ground. Tong Yao squatted opposite Han Qian and hit Han Qian's feet with the golden hoop in his hand. Let you run, let you run. Han Qian said breathlessly. Child monster, let's go get a room. Nursery rhyme sneered. I've been unlucky for running a red light for 3 years, and I'm here to help you. Honey, can you hold it back? Han Qian. I'm holding you back, uncle, have you never gone to school? A top freshman graduating from college, do you want to eat popsicles? Tong Yao felt her blood pressure increase. At this time, Han Qian slapped his knee and exclaimed. It seems that you can't eat cold food when you come to my aunt, huh? Then why can you still run away when you come to my aunt? Come on, aunt is not lame. Yes, a nursery rhyme. It's okay to shout. Call daddy. What's it called? Father. Good. Haha. Just wait, I'll call Nuan Nuan. Nuan Nuan seems to know what happened between the two of us. The nursery rhymes were silent, and so was Han Qian. After about 5 minutes, nursery rhyme burst out with a roar. Han Qian, I will fight with you. Ha! You will definitely die today. Although he said this, Tan Jiao still didn't dare to deal too harshly with Han Qian. The little cream boy in the distance felt itchy when he saw this scene. At this time, Wu Sijuan stood up and walked to the truck, then took out a pair of scissors, narrowed his eyes and smiled. Come. The little cream boy got up and ran. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 657. Everything in the principal's office was replaced with new ones, and Wu Sijuan also bought an Apple laptop for nursery rhyme. The monster kept thanking Wu Sijuan like a country bumpkin, and turned a deaf ear to what Wu Sijuan said was Han Qian's request. Just ignore it. Han Qian, who was lying on the leather sofa and reading a book, was too lazy to pay attention to the monster and let her say whatever he wanted. Seeing that it was almost time for school to end, Wu Sijuan found an excuse to sneak away. Listening to the sound of the bell, Han Qian sat up and said softly. What the hell is going on in your school? How did I find out that there are 2 campuses? And the decoration style was checked too much. Tong Yao raised her head and frowned. Do you have any opinion? It was like taking gunpowder, and Han Qian had no choice but to sigh feebly and shook his head. I'm just curious. It's time to get off work. I'll treat you to dinner. No. You should go home and cook. There is nothing to eat outside. Bobo chicken. What is that? You'll know when you get there. I'll call Nuan Heshi. She didn't care whether Han Qian wanted to eat or not. She took her bag and car keys and went out. Han Qian followed slowly behind her. When she left the school gate, Han Qian found that there were many parents outside the school who were not coming to pick up their children, but I'm here to see the kids off. And the conditions were very good, at least they were picked up and dropped off by car. After getting in the car, Han Qian was filled with doubts. Just when he was about to speak, his phone rang. Recently, Feng Lun was like a dogskin plaster, always calling Han Qian. If he didn't answer once or twice, he would call at another time. Han Qian answered the phone, and Tong Yao slowed down the car. If you feel it's too boring outside, surrender yourself as soon as possible so that I won't have a hard time being implicated by you. Look at you, are you a typical example of killing a donkey? You made such a big noise this time and you suppressed it so easily. I am very unwilling. In fact, it is not difficult for me to surrender. You put these two once the old guy is removed from power, I will surrender obediently. Do you think you pinched these two bastards to death? Brother, this requires evidence. It's not as simple as killing two pigs in a slaughterhouse. They are both old people with deep roots in the city. If you don't want to surrender, just hide away. Don't take it. This is an excuse, I don't have the ability now. You weaken a little, and leave the rest to me, Niu Qiudong, that old bastard. Han Qian hung up the phone directly. The police officers who were monitoring the situation at the city bureau were full of embarrassment. They hurriedly sent the recording to Li Jinhai and asked if he wanted to report it. Li Jinhai frowned after hearing this, and then smiled. Is this phone number Feng Lun? Haha, I don't think so. On the other side, Han Qian cursed in a low voice that Feng Lun, the grandson, didn't know what to say. He knew that the phone was being monitored, but he still revealed Niu Qiudong's name. This was just a disease. Listening to Han Qian's thoughts, Nursery Rhyme spoke. He did it on purpose. Han Qian turned around and asked in confusion. What? I said Feng Lun deliberately exposed Niu Qiudong's name. When Nuan told me that someone from the Yamen gate tipped off Niu Qiudong. The recording on your phone will also be sent to Niu Qiudong today. You don't want to do anything to Niu Qiudong. He can force Niu Qiudong to attack you. Hey! Annoying! He sighed, and just as he was about to take out his cigarette, he was snatched away by Nursery Rhymes and thrown into the back seat. Now several girls took the issue of Han Qian's smoking very seriously. Miraculously, none of the girls had any disagreements because of this issue. They were surprisingly unanimous. If you can't quit, smoke less. Then Tong Yao took out a handful of white rabbit toffee from his pocket and handed it to Han Qian, saying softly. I dropped in at Ji Jing's house yesterday. The room Aunt Ji prepared for you is very luxurious. Thinking of the second bedroom of Ji Jing's house, Han Qian nodded seriously. It's indeed luxurious. I like it very much. Let's talk about the two campuses of your school. I'm too lazy to think about those troublesome things. What's going on with the students in your school? Isn't it said that the Yamen Gate is a primary school for farmers' children? In front of the traffic light, Tanjeo stopped the car and drank some water, and said softly. Children of farmers? Even if the father of a farmer goes to school, I have to make money. If I can't make money with them, I have to think of other ways. I can't just do a loss-making business to make the Yeomanmen's faces look bright, right? The second one, the campus is for interest classes, and the people who come here are children from other schools who come here after school to take classes, such as small host classes, foreign language interest classes, football and tennis classes, taekwondo classes, music classes, etc. Very profitable. The little host has 3 oral classes a week, each class is 70 minutes, and there are 2 old grandfather pictures. There should be more than 20 students now. If the students in my Farmers' Children campus are talented in this area, I will also discuss it with their parents. Discuss it, and you don't have to be rich to come, we will choose the students. This time it was Han Qian's turn to be confused. How to select students for such an expensive course? Another point is that there are many children's hobby schools in the city. How come they are so good at nursery rhymes? Han Qian was confused and couldn't help asking. Why is your school so awesome? Are you still choosing students? They won't go to other schools. Tong Yao glanced at Han Qian and whispered. The Yeomanmen will provide internship venues for my interest class students. We will arrange students to perform on Children's Day, Teacher's Day, winter and summer vacations, New Year and other days. Why is your school so special? I heard that it is difficult for other interest classes to have such an opportunity. Because I know a friend who has a good relationship with the Yeomanman. Male and female. Male. Have you ever had sex? Yeah. As they spoke, the car arrived. Han Qian glared at Tanjeo. Tanjeo ignored Han Qian and got out of the car to call Nuan Nuan. Han Qian took the cigarette in the back seat, lit it, took a deep puff, and then grinned. Isn't this man me? Naughty. When he got off the car and looked up at the red sign, Han Qian felt a stomachache. He walked into the store and saw 3 girls sitting by the window. Under the envious and jealous eyes of everyone, Han Qian pulled up a chair. Sitting next to Warmth. Pointing to the smoking pot on the table, he frowned. Isn't this just boiled skewers? Why is it called Bobo chicken? When I came here, I thought Bobo chicken was the kind of chicken that comes in a bowl. What the hell is this? Tanjeo glared at Han Qian. Yu Shisai nodded and asked softly. Right? Why is it called Bobo chicken? When Nuan took out a bunch of tender chicken, narrowed his eyes and smiled. Because it is cooked in a bowl, there is chicken even though there is no chicken. The main reason is that the name is relatively novel and sounds better than boiled skewers. Otherwise, how could we fool him? After saying this, he turned to Han Qian and smiled with narrowed eyes. I know you can't eat spicy food, so I ordered other dishes for you. Just wait a moment. Looking at the small earthen jar full of red oil, Han Qian frowned, his eyes filled with conflict. Not long after, Yu Shisai couldn't do it anymore, so she asked the waiter for a pot of mildly spicy food. She couldn't stand the medium spicy food. Her warm forehead was covered with sweat, and she drank iced Coke in mouthfuls. Looking at the nursery rhyme again, the monster seems to be okay. It seems that it is not spicy enough. Han Qian couldn't eat this at all, and the doctor also told him not to eat it. His stomach hurt just looking at it. Several girls were full of wine and food, but Han Qian didn't take a bite, even if something not spicy came into his mouth. Not too spicy either. Sichuan restaurants mainly focus on spicy food. This is common sense. Nursery rhymes and Yu Shisai left. They lived together. When Nuan smiled and waved goodbye to them, she wanted to take Han Qian to go shopping for a while. There were very few opportunities to go shopping with Wen Nuan. She is lazy. His home. Nuan held Han Qian's hand, clasped his fingers tightly, waved his arm widely, and raised the other arm above his head. Come on, let's go shopping. Warm shopping basically had nothing to do with buying clothes. She only went shopping in brand stores. It was already dark now, so she didn't have the intention, so she took Han Qian and walked all the way to Zhonyang Road pedestrian street. He took Han Qian and went straight to the snack street to buy some. Brother Qian. Han Qian, who was eating, raised his head and replied in confusion. Is Jijing's home nice? After saying this, 100 thoughts appeared in Han Qian's head, and he chose the most unwise answer. Been there once, it was pretty good. Do you like that kind of technological bedroom? I can give you a more advanced one. I was looking at a house recently, but you are more nostalgic. I was thinking about buying the house we live in now and putting Zheng in it. The person who lived next door also bought it, and after it was opened, it was almost 200 square meters. No need, it's quite cozy to live here now. Then don't just find a place to sleep, you have a home. Angry? No. Obviously angry, Han Qian poked a small ball and fed it to Wen Nuan, smiling. I only stay outside when there are special circumstances. Go home if you are injured, don't run to Yates's house. Han Qian stopped talking. Why does Nuan know everything? After walking around for a while, Han Qian was also full. He patted his belly and walked Nuan back and forth. Han Qian drove the car and Nuan sat in the passenger seat. The two of them didn't say a word the whole way. Go home and take a shower and go to bed. Lying on the bed, Nuan looks sideways at Han Qian, who is in a daze, and says softly, "How do I know if you're not curious?" Han Qian looked at the roof and nodded, seriously. "Curious, but I don't want to ask, just like King Hu has been checking my room opening records. This is your right." After finishing his words, he turned over and looked at Wen Nuan, smiling. "This is what you should do too." Wen Nuan smiled, squinted his eyes and smiled. "Really? Brother Qian, you are very dishonest. Just because I don't tell you some things doesn't mean I don't know. You'd better restrain yourself, otherwise I'll cry in front of Mom and your life will be harder than anyone else's. Okay, it's time. Go to sleep." When Nuan turned over, he took out a pair of scissors from under the pillow and said calmly, "What if you and Yan Qingqing were dishonest last night? Brother Qian, you haven't made breakfast for me for a long time, and you haven't prepared clothes for me. Are you tired?" Han Qian was so frightened that he didn't dare to sleep all night. The girl has changed. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 658. Early in the morning, when Nuan walked down the second floor in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes and yawning. She sat at the dining table and began to be in a daze. The girl Han Qian had been in this state for 3 years and was already used to it. Nuan watched Han Qian come out of the kitchen with breakfast and nodded blankly. "Honey, what are you going to eat this morning?" The name husband was so smooth that Han Qian couldn't help but recall the first time when Nuan called her husband. It seemed that during the Chinese New Year in the third year, when they were celebrating the New Year in the countryside, his mother dragged Wen Nuan to fight with her cousin who came to visit her. Landowner. At that time, Han Qian was chatting with his cousin-in-law about village affairs, gossiping about whose children would be successful this year and which industry had better prospects. His cousin-in-law handed Han Qian a cigarette and Han Qian smiled. "Reject." "No, how is brother-in-law's work lately?" "Ah. Old, wow." Before Han Qian could speak, Wen Nuan, who was sitting on the hot kong playing landlords, suddenly let out a scream. He was pale and wearing a small flower cotton padded jacket and crawled towards Han Qian and threw himself directly into his arms. Han Qian was also a little confused at the time. No one knew what was going on. Until the old man walked into the room with an embarrassed look, looked at Wen Nuan with an apologetic look, and whispered, "Xiao Nuan, Dad just wanted to ask you if you want to eat frozen pears. I didn't expect to scare you." "Wow." Nuan hugged Han Qian and started to cry. Gradually Han Qian also understood what was going on. He turned around and suddenly a face appeared outside the window at night. Not to mention Nuan, even Han Qian would be frightened and panicked. Qian's mother. He slapped the old man on the shoulder several times, making him very angry. Then the next day there was a string of colorful lights in the yard. Recalling this scene, Han Qian smiled silly. When Nuan, who had regained his composure on the sofa, stepped forward and took the breakfast from Han Qian's hand, wondering, "Why are you laughing? You can't even hear me when I shout." Han Qian came back to his senses and smiled. "I remember the old man scared you outside the window during the Chinese New Year last year." Nuan glared at Han Qian, then couldn't help but laugh, lowered his head and muttered softly, "It's so embarrassing. My dad was scolded by my mom several times because of this." After saying this, Wen Nuan sat on the chair and sighed again. "Hey. As soon as I returned to the village, it was as if the devils had entered the village. In the past 2 years, those big roosters and geese chased me and bit me. This year's Chinese New Year was great. When they saw me, They started running away and couldn't find me. That's why I asked Dad to kill them, and now your old rooster hides behind the corn stack when he sees me. Han Qian, who was serving millet porridge and steamed buns in the kitchen, smiled. I scared you to tears. My father is the only one left alive now. He has eaten everything else. Didn't the two elders call you recently? Hit. Mom asked me to find a job for our cousin's husband. I haven't told you about this yet. I'm too busy recently. My mother borrowed 2,000 yuan when she was sick, and she has to go back to that cousin in less than 2 hours. I don't remember why I called her Ding. I'll tell you when I'm done. That's how people are, just get used to it. Eat and eat. I'm going to hold an opening ceremony next week. I've already contacted some new partners. Huishan Group used to do construction. I'm going to change my name and go directly to real estate. Hey. I've worked in Changxiang for so many years and made wedding dresses for the Lin family, and I'm not happy just thinking about it. Han Qian filled a bowl of millet porridge and placed it in front of Nuan, laughing softly. Then do real estate. If you want to develop it yourself, you may want to find someone to cooperate with you. You can choose any land in the city. I'll go to the Yamanmen to quarrel with you for the rest. I forgot to tell you that the land in Dongcheng is back in my hands. Brother Qian, can you move the school to Dongcheng? With Nuan's eyes full of expectation, Han Qian squinted and smiled. No, I don't have the ability yet. It's beautiful to think of it. How about a school district room? You sit down and plan first. It's good to make some noise early. In fact, I have a very good plan in my hand. It's Yates's plan. If you propose it, you can give it a try. After all, you still have a lot of spare money on hand. If you don't have enough, you can ask King Hu to get some. Mentioning Cai King Hu, Wen Nuan was suddenly discouraged. He drank his porridge listlessly and muttered softly. She transferred 50 million to me, saying it was a housewarming gift for me. After the words fell, Wen Nuan sat up and frowned. Seeing this, Han Qian got up and ran. Wen Nuan glared at Han Qian and said irritably. Ouch. I'm embarrassed to say that my love rival gave me 50 million as a free gift. Damn. Don't curse. Then you come here and let me smash it. It's so annoying. What will I do in the future? Knowing that I need money now, I will give out 50 million. If she goes on a date with you in the future, how can I stop her? Han Qian, you come here. Han Qian covered his head and shook his head. No. I can't smash my head because it's injured. If you don't know the lake, the money is still being deposited in the bank and earning interest. She's not bad at that. Just take it and give it to you. Didn't Mr. Yan give you a gift? Whatever. 10 million, ah. Otherwise, you thought I would have allowed her to stay at home yesterday. Looking at Wen Nuan's tangled expression, Han Qian's eyes trembled slightly and he said softly. I don't think it should be just the two of them giving you a gift. Nuan lowered his head and continued to drink porridge, sighing. There must be more than that. Qian Wan's aunt, your aunt Qian has 15 million, 5 million is for your aunt Ji. Ah. The girl put down the bowl in her hand and let out a low growl, and Han Qian muttered softly. Are you going to bite someone? Wen Nuan suddenly raised his head, his big eyes widened like a cat. Han Qian quickly raised his hand and whispered. Don't get excited. You need money now. It's normal for them to give you money. Just take it. They are not short of money anyway. No. They are not trying to get me through the difficulties, but they are bribing me. They want to use money to blind me. I think this is a trap. Han Qian, don't be proud, if I fall into the trap. Don't do it either. Think about living well and eating. I'll beat you up when you get better. Domestic violence is illegal. Ask the yeomanman who cares about our affairs. Suddenly I remembered the nursery rhymes that called the police yesterday. Does anyone know Han Chien at the Yamen gate? It is estimated that 8 generations of ancestors were clearly exposed by them. After the meal, Nuan sent Han Chien to glory, and then drove to Huishan Group. The boss suddenly changed and she had a lot of things and contracts to deal with. As soon as when Nuan left, Cai Kinghu came over on a Ducati motorcycle. Let's go, mister, go buy a car. The girl got the motorcycle back. Han Chien sighed, stepped forward, pulled out the car keys and whispered softly. You are not allowed to ride a motorcycle without a helmet from now on. Why should I buy a car? I will ride this motorcycle to work starting tomorrow. Mister, I'm interested in the new model of BMW 760. It's so cheap, I'll buy it. Cai Kinghu got out of the car and took Han Chien's hand and shook it from side to side. Han Chien pinched Cai Kinghu's nose, narrowed his eyes and smiled. I won't buy it. I used to drive a Porsche and I thought it was flamboyant. Are you asking me to switch to a BMW? I'm crazy. Stop it. I won't buy it. Let's go. Come to work with me. Now that Han Chien brought several girls to work, no one was surprised. He even said that there was no fluctuation. He continued to work and joked. Han Chien turned on the computer and asked Yao Shui softly what his work was today. Yao Shui whispered to Han Chien. Chien is preparing a cooperation plan with Huishan Group. Cooperate? Han Chien didn't want to get involved in the matter between Wen Nuan and Yan Qingqing, and watched the news boredly. Cai Kinghu, who was sitting aside, drank the calcium milk Shan Shan gave her and forced Han Chien to open BMW's official website. I have to say that this car looks really impressive, but no matter what Cai Kinghu said, Han Chien just disagreed. 2 words. Publicity. Cai Kinghu glared at Han Chien with his mouth raised, and said angrily in a low voice. Then buy the Phaeton. It's just like the Passata. This car is low-key. Han Chien frowned. I want to spend millions to buy an enhanced version of Passata? Am I crazy? I think the Accord is good and not expensive. No. Cai Kinghu shook his head and refused, and Han Chien smiled bitterly. Why not? It's just a means of transportation. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I don't care about your food, clothing, and housing, but the work must be left to me. How about you go to my house, pick one out in the garage, and drive away? Han Chien sighed and smiled. That makes sense. Where is your Ferrari? I sent you poems. Now I only like the R8 you gave me. I don't like the others anymore. I also have 4 supercars at home. Do you want a Maverick? It's the model from the year before last. Is it too low? Is there a Mercedes-Benz that's the same as Lin Zongheng's? That one is taller. Same payment as him. Cai Kinghu took a deep breath and gritted his teeth. Neither east nor west, what do you want? You don't like Maserati, and classic cars are not meant for the road. If you don't hate Japan, you still have a GTR. If not, I won't listen to you. It's your opinion, you can drive whatever you buy. Huh? 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 Can you be considerate of us when you two are showing off your wealth? Yao Shui turned sideways and looked at Han Chien and Cai Kinghu resentfully. Han Chien smiled awkwardly, and Yao Shui said softly. Han Chien, you are the same. Kinghu wants to give you a gift, but you are picky like a little girl. If I were Kinghu, I would have slapped you with my mouth. After the words fell, Sul Yang, who was sitting next to Han Chien, smiled. Sister Shui is absolutely right. Han Chien, you are too pretentious. Why don't you keep a low profile when you are being chased by the police on a motorcycle worth 300,000 yuan? The big men just accept it when they see you. Besides, with you. As for the relationship with King Hu, what's hers is yours, and what's yours is hers, and you can use whatever is given to you. At some point Qianwan appeared behind Han Qian, holding a bottle of add calcium milk and whispering, "If you don't like it, you can drive my McLaren away. If it doesn't work, my aunt's car will do. Then I'll go find my sister-in-law and borrow the Maverick to play with for a while." After finishing speaking, Cai King Hu took out a bunch of keys from his bag, took one off and handed it to Qianwan. "Wan likes it? I'll give you the key. Your aunt knows the address, but you have to find someone to drive it yourself. It's probably gathering dust in the underground garage." Qianwan took it, narrowed her eyes and smiled. "Thank you, sister-in-law." Cai King Hu was elated after being called sister-in-law twice, squinting and smiling. "How about my sister-in-law buy you a big bull?" After the words came out, Han Qian stretched out his hand to cover Cai King Hu's mouth and said helplessly, "Auntie, can you please stop being a prodigal?" Cai King Hu opened Han Qian's mouth and frowned. "What's wrong with me buying a car for my sister-in-law? Does it have anything to do with you? I'll give you two options now. One is to buy a BMW, and the other is to choose one." "Forget it, don't choose, I won't give it to you either. I bought it." Wan, bring the GTR over when you pick up the car. Han Qian, do you have trouble choosing? I have something to do today. I'll see if I can post the third chapter tonight. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 659. Unable to stay in the general department with Cai King Hu any longer, Han Qian could clearly feel the resentful looks from his male colleagues. 36 strategies are the best. Qianwan and Shanshan ran away first, and the two girls took Cai King Hu's car keys to pick up the car. One liked cars, and the other's family sold second-hand cars, so they seemed to be in tune with each other. Pulling Cai King Hu all the way into Yan Qingqing's office, Yan Qingqing, who was very intellectual today, looked at the two of them with glasses and said softly, "How come Cai, the richest man, has time to come to my place today?" Cai King Hu put his arms around Han Qian's neck and smiled with his eyes narrowed. "I have been suspended from my job. Now I am unemployed and can only follow my husband-in-law." After finishing her words, Yan Qingqing grabbed a pen and threw it at Cai King Hu, frowning. "He has injuries all over his body, can you bear to torment him?" Cai King Hu hurriedly let go of Han Qian's neck. "She forgot about it?" Han Qian smiled and said it was okay. He just took out a cigarette while sitting on the sofa. Cai King Hu and Yan Qingqing frowned at the same time. Han Qian said quickly, "This is my second one since I woke up this morning." Cai King Hu curled his lips, and Yan Qingqing asked again, "Let me ask you, why did you come to my territory?" Cai King Hu leaned in front of Yan Qingqing's desk and whispered to the man on the sofa, "It's still not because of him. Even if the car crashes, I don't know how to buy one. You give it to me today, and Nursery Rhyme will give it to me tomorrow. The main reason is to not let him ride a motorcycle, and I want to buy him a car." "Buy a car?" Yan Qingqing nodded and frowned. "It's really time to buy him a car. I was riding a motorcycle around on the road, and the traffic police team called me. Zhang asked me if I could still care about my boyfriend. It's also strange that when Nuan wanted to buy a car. After taking pictures for such a long time, what else could be on her mind besides eating? And how to drive us away? After all, she is a certified empress of the palace. Yan Hu, have you ever felt that Director Qian is very interested in Ji Bobo? At the dinner the day before yesterday, she was treated like his daughter-in-law. You were wasted." While talking, Cai King Hu picked up Yan Qingqing's water glass and drank some water. Yan Qingqing frowned. "Can you?" "No, Han Qian and I have kissed." You must have kissed too. So. I don't dislike you. Let's talk business first. Have you been abolished? Han Qian really wanted to plug his ears, but at this moment he could only pretend to be silent. Yan Qingqing tilted her head and thought for a while, then whispered. When Nuan's certificate has expired. Hers doesn't count. Her advantage is that Han Qian's parents dote on her. As for Ji Jing, I don't know what happened. Besides, in terms of personality, who among us can compare? Did you kill her? I don't know whether she is useless or not, but I know that it was me who walked with Han Qian in the end, not you little goblins. He. Cai Qinghu responded with a sneer. I thought the relationship between them was less tense and reconciled, but it seems I was overthinking it. Han Qian didn't know what to say. He couldn't afford to offend anyone, and he didn't have the ability. If he had said no contact last year, it might have been useful. If he said this now, this drumming girl could chop it into stuffing for him. Moreover, each of them has their own advantages, and no one is convinced by the other. In the past, Aunt Ji did not get involved in this war, but now she is very happy with Tong Yao. You have committed a sin. But fortunately no one asked him about who he would marry in the future. Their war will only occur when there are only a few of them. Once there are outsiders, they will fight against each other unanimously, such as the woman on Han Qian's phone now. Excuse me sir, let's have lunch together. Han Qian wanted to throw away this Nokia. Its sound was louder than the hands-free sound of ordinary mobile phones. He glanced at Yan Qingqing from the corner of his eye, and the latter curled his lips. Look, this is like an affair. A good man can't stand the temptation of a fox, and even a hero can't get over it. Han Qian can really get through it. Yan Qingqing's voice was not quiet, she even raised it intentionally. Cai Qinghu curled her lips and said. I can't help it. Who made him excellent? It seems that after I get married, I will have more and more love rivals. It's exciting just thinking about it. Their voices were clearly heard by Luo Shen, so she didn't care and said softly. Let's have dinner together at noon. Lu Shenga made an appointment. If you go, I will go. If you don't go, I won't go either. Let's go, what time? You decide. 12 o'clock. Han Qian hung up the phone. The two women spoke at the same time but shut up at the same time. Han Qian sat up and looked at the time and smiled. There are still more than 2 hours left. Which of you will go with me at noon? After saying this, Yan Qingqing's face was filled with contempt. Hey, young Master Han is so majestic. Why do you want to choose a beautiful woman to accompany you when you go out to eat? Sorry, I'm very busy. Then I'll go. Cai Qinghu was very excited. Yan Qingqing gritted her teeth and glared at Cai Qinghu, saying angrily. Is your head full of tofu? Cai Qinghu turned around and smiled. And my husband-in-law? You can't say it yourself. Don't blame me, Qingqing. In ancient times, you must have been the kind of lady who hid in the backyard with high walls and deep courtyards, eating fast and chanting Buddha. She would not be loved in her life. Kind. Yan Qingqing sneered in return and said sarcastically. Are you a geisha in a brothel? I don't mind. I'm happy for my husband to have sex for free. Cai Qinghu, can you please have a little face? I want my father-in-law. Yan Qingqing stared at Cai Qinghu. After the two women stared at each other for a long time, Yan Qingqing was the first to give up and waved to Cai Qinghu. It's annoying to see you. You're so big, don't hang around in front of me. After saying this, Cai Qinghu ran to Han Qian and hugged his arm. What could Yan Qingqing do? Now both parties know her relationship with Han Qian, but even if it is not announced, there is no way to stop other girls from approaching Han Qian. Does Yan Qingqing want to occupy Han Qian alone? Think. Can Han Qian be allowed to reject other girls? Yan Qingqing didn't dare to do this, and neither did other girls, because there was a first time and a second time. If he could reject Cai Qinghu, he might reject her Yan Qingqing in the future. There is another issue that all women can care about. Warm pressure. This heartless girl is too much of a threat to them. Finally, Yan Qingqing agreed. Cai Qinghu could go, but he must stay well in the office before leaving. He was not allowed to harm Han Qian. Cai Qinghu asked angrily. Why? Han Qian is not yours. Yan Qingqing arrived lightly. Take off his clothes and look at his back. Is there another scar? Cai Qinghu, listen carefully. If something happens to Han Qian when he goes out with you, you will never be able to be alone with him again in your life. Cai Qinghu turned around and lifted up Han Qian's clothes. Now Han Qian was a little confused. Wen Nuan knew his whereabouts very well. How did Yan Qingqing know? Surely they both wouldn't be watching him with a spy at the same time. Looking at the scars on Han Qian's back, Cai Qinghu looked at the 20-centimeter knife wound on Han Qian's arm and said softly. Mister, shall we get a tattoo? You get a tattoo on your right arm, and I'll get one with you. After saying this, Yan Qingqing said coldly. Public servants are not allowed to get tattoos. Being suspended is not being fired. You can still give Han Qian some help at the Yamen gate. If you want to make a big vase, I will kick you out first. Yan Qingqing, you are making trouble unreasonably. This is a matter between my husband and I. Whatever you think, if the girl around Han Qian can't help him and becomes a burden, I will be the first to get rid of this person. What about the nursery rhyme and Jijing? Can you give Han Qian Jijing's tenderness? Can you do Tong Yao's clever mind and calm analysis of things? Not to mention you have money, the most important thing we lack is money, understand? Cai Qinghu couldn't defeat Yan Qingqing, so he took Han Qian's arm and acted coquettishly. Ms. Sir, look at her. Han Qian frowned and smiled bitterly, then looked at Yan Qingqing. Mr. Yan, Qing. It's none of your business. When will you be able to handle the relationship around you and come over to discuss these things with me? Han Qian, how do you play and make trouble? Even if you go out to sleep with women, I can turn a blind eye to all this. One eye, but if there is a vase around you who has no ability, no brains, and will only be a hindrance, I will clean it up immediately and will not ask for your opinion. The freedom of your life is your own decision. When it comes to your career and growth, I, Yan Qingqing, will give you unreasonable plans. Even the warmth is of no use. Han Qian raised his hands in surrender. Yes. You are right. Let's run away from Qinghu first. I'm worried that she will beat us to death later. Cai Qinghu nodded vigorously. Yan Qingqing raised her wrist, glanced at it, and said calmly. There are still 1 hour and 17 minutes left. You two can sit on the sofa and hold it in while you go to the toilet. The domineering nature of Empress Yasha is different from that of Empress Donggong. Her domineering attitude is that she will not put herself in someone else's shoes. She will either be obedient or suppress violently. Han Qian and Cai Qinghu did not want to resist at all and raised their hands to surrender. 11:30. Han Qian and Cai Qinghu looked at Yan Qingqing at the same time. Yan Qingqing glanced at the time and said calmly. Go ahead and be safe on the road. Relieved, the two stood up and ran out the door. Yan Qingqing turned her back on them and shouted angrily. Close the door. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 660. After going downstairs, Han Qian remembered that Cai Qinghu came here on a motorcycle this morning. Han Qian dared to commit suicide, but he was still not sure about taking Cai Qinghu on a motorcycle, so he coaxed Cai Qinghu to go to the Yamen gate with easy negotiation. He got his driver's license back and promised to buy a BMW 760 if Qianwan didn't drive the GTR back. Only then did Cai Qinghu nod with satisfaction and take a taxi to the Yamen gate. Riding his motorcycle and looking at the helmet in his hand, Han Qian frowned and waved to the security captain at the door, who ran over. "What are your orders, Mr. Han?" Han Qian smiled and put the helmet on the head of the security captain and said with a smile, "I have a head injury and I can't carry this thing with me. Please keep it for me." As soon as he finished speaking, Han Qian turned off the accelerator, and the front wheel of the Ducati rose into the air. It shot out like a red sword. Within a few seconds, there were bursts of blaring horns and angry curses on the road. As for Han Qian, he has already run far away. He can ride a shitty motorcycle. On the road, Han Qian sang loudly and turned the accelerator to the end. If Cai Qinghu found out, he would definitely nag him. 1 second he said he was too arrogant, and the next second he wished the whole Binhai city knew he was squealing on the road. As he shuttled on the road with constant traffic, Han Qian felt that this was what young people should do. Open your mouth and sing a song. If I kill you, I will lose both my soul and my soul. The gods are trembling, the ghosts are trembling, and the wolf that I beat. Suddenly, a bee flew into Han Qian's mouth. At this moment, Han Qian was panicked and his mind went blank. Just when he was debating whether to chew it up and eat it or spit it out, he could feel the bee's furry body. Suddenly there was a pain in his tongue. Han Qian parked his motorcycle on the side of the road and stood in the middle of the road, jumping around with his mouth open. Real experience. The traffic was blocked again. The traffic policeman in the distance was confused when he saw Han Qian jumping up and down in the middle of the road. He thought something had happened and hurried over to ask. Han Qian pointed at the traffic policeman while holding his arm. Own tongue. Tears came down. Seeing Han Qian's appearance, the traffic policeman became anxious and said urgently, "What's wrong? What happened? Go to the hospital? What happened to you?" Whoa 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 whoa. In the end, Han Qian pulled the traffic policeman to squat on the ground, looking at the bees crawling hard on the road, and then pointed at his tongue. The traffic policeman's face became a little embarrassed, and the corners of his eyes twitched slightly. "I was riding my motorcycle too fast. I ate the bee while riding with my mouth open, and then stung you. I'll take you to the hospital." Han Qian shook his head, got up and rode his motorcycle to the agreed place. Donggu Tea House. Luo Shen and Lu Shenge were laughing so much that they couldn't drink tea. Seeing Han Qian scratching on the paper with a pen, Yates burst into tears from laughter. He had heard that bees sting people, but he had never heard that bees could sting tongues. But the facts are right in front of her, even if she doesn't believe them, of course. Nothing is impossible for Han Qian. Lu Shenge pointed at Han Qian and laughed. "Here, stick out your dog tongue and let me see it. Doll wow wow wow. Don't scream, just write, and write. Come on, drink some water and it won't hurt anymore." Han Qian looked at Lu Shenge suspiciously, picked up the teacup and took a sip. The next second, Han Qian kicked the tea table, causing him to spin around on the ground in pain. Lu Shenge was laughing so hard that he could no longer control himself. "Ha ha ha ha, mad dog, you are also a genius. A bee stings your tongue? This is lower than the chance of a humming atomic bomb hitting your head. I think we should not talk today. You can't even say anything." At this time, the owner of the tea shop rushed up aggressively. When he saw Han Qian squatting on the ground and covering his mouth, and Lu Shenge leaning on the bed and laughing, his anger instantly turned into a smile, and he stepped forward and laughed. Master Han, Director Lu, is this, tea bad? Lushenga smiled and waved. It's okay. There was a little accident. I'll ask my assistant to compensate you for the loss later. After the words fell, Luo Shen frowned. Let's get down to business, can you two stop making trouble? Eunuch Lu, you are the same, he was stung and you still made fun of him. As he spoke, he took out the banknotes from his bag and handed them to the tea shop owner, saying softly. I'll take Han Qian to the hospital to have his tongue checked, will you go? Lushenga immediately clapped his hands. Go. Why don't you go? Seeing this mad dog in pain makes me more excited than killing people. Han Qian, give me the keys to your motorcycle, and I'll see if bees can sting my tongue. Luo Shen glared at Lushenga, and the three of them left together. Lushenga rode away on his motorcycle. In the hospital, the doctors were used to this kind of thing, but Han Qian running here every now and then in the past 3 days made them feel bad. They whispered that Han Qian should go to the temple and come to the hospital once every 3 days. Every time it is a new injury, how can there be such a miserable person? After the examination, he found a barb on his tongue. Lushenga stood aside and asked seriously. Doctor, do you think you need to perform an operation on him to cut out his tongue? Money doesn't matter. If you can cut it out, you can still get 3 to 5 million. Han Qian raised his leg and kicked Lushenga. The doctor smiled and ignored the matter. He used tweezers to treat Han Qian's tongue and prescribed some oral medicine to prevent allergies. After that, the two sat in the lobby with Luo Shen and waited for the CT scan. Lushenga looked at Han Qian's medical certificate and said calmly. The Lin family has already begun to take action. Shouldn't we fulfill the agreement we made in the capital as follows? Eat the Lin family first, and let's fight among ourselves. Han Qian tilted his head and looked confused. Lushenga said calmly. Because the Lin family's cake is big and soft, you and Luo Shen can strangle Lin men to death. I will seek revenge on the remaining Lin Zongheng. As an ally, I first express my sincerity. Lin Zongheng has now contacted Zhao Jianfeng and others from the neighboring city. Now the Lin family is very short of money and is ready to use military force too much. Hey! Han Qian laughed, and Lushenga followed up. Aren't you mute? Han Qian ignored the grandson and turned to look at Luo Shen, who frowned. This is the shopping mall you said you wanted to give to me? What's the use of a uniformed country? Forget it, you can't say anything now. How many days will it take for your mouth to heal? Han Qian held out 3 fingers. Luo Shen nodded to the foreign girl Nier and pushed the wheelchair away. At this time, Lushenga also stood up, stretched, turned and left. Originally, they wanted to listen to Han Qian's words. Opinion, now that Han Qian's tongue has been bitten, there is no reason to stay. After the people left, Han Qian curled his lips. Are you trying to trick a wolf? Being stung by a stone didn't cut out his tongue, it's just that his speech was a little unclear. When Han Qian returned to Yan Qingqing's office again, he stood in front of the desk and put the hospital report on the table with his tongue hanging out. Yan Qingqing took a look at the report, relaxed her frown, and couldn't help laughing. How come you got stung by a bee on your tongue when you left the house? It's actually quite good. You are honest and don't have to secretly kiss other little girls. What do Lushenga and Luo Shen say? Han Qian shrugged. I want to share the Lin family's cake, but I think Lushenga means to eat it for free, so I just ignore it as if I can't speak. It hurts. It hurts like crazy. I'll give you a blowjob. Yan Qingqing held Han Qian's face. She really didn't think too much. She felt distressed and wanted to laugh at the same time. She just took a breath and burst out laughing. Han Qian glared at Yan Qingqing in embarrassment. With an angry groan, he left the general manager's office and went to the operations department. "Aunt Ji, my tongue hurts." Pushing open Ji Jing's door, Han Qian opened his mouth and shouted. Then he felt that the atmosphere was a bit strange. He opened his eyes slightly and saw Ji Jing preparing to work with the deputy team leader in the office. Han Qian's face was full of embarrassment. Ji Jing nodded to the deputy minister, who stood up and left. Ji Jing hurriedly stood up and approached Han Qian, held his face gently and said softly. "What's wrong? Why does your tongue still hurt? Are you angry?" Han Qian stretched out his hand and hugged Ji Jing's waist, crying. "Stung by a bee. I need a kiss, Aunt Ji." As soon as the words fell, Ji Jing's lips touched Han Qian's face. Han Qian looked at Ji Jing's red face and smiled innocently. Aunt Ji was the best. As soon as this idea came up, Ji Jing suddenly burst out laughing. "Eldest nephew, tell me how you got stung on your tongue by a bee? You went to lick the bee. Aunt Ji. I won't make peace with you." Han Qian left the planning department angrily. He could still hear Ji Jing's laughter when he went out, and Han Qian smiled. Good to get up. Being happy is the most important thing. When he got home, he thought Nuan would laugh at him. Seeing Nuan sitting on the edge of the sofa carefully preparing medicine, and then checking what to eat to relieve the pain, Han Qian felt weird. Everything that's been going on lately is so weird. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 661. Because of his tongue problem, Han Qian stayed at home for 2 days until his tongue stopped hurting before he was ready to go out. Today is the day when Huishan Group changes its name, and Nuan Company is about to reopen. Changrong Group. Arriving at the underground parking lot and looking at the yellow McLaren, Han Qian sighed feebly. This girl Qianwan said she hadn't had enough fun with the GTR and wanted to play with it for a few days, so she asked Han Qian to drive her car first. Open as you like. Come on, her. Not to mention changing cars, now even if she asks Qianling for a McLaren, she will buy it for Han Qian. She opens the door and gets in the car. McLaren is the only supercar that Han Qian is familiar with. The supercar in Qinghu he never drove it once. Driving to Changrong Group, looking at the luxury cars and city dignitaries in the square, Han Qian curled his lips and cursed in a low voice that there was no good thing. When Nuan did not choose to hold the ceremony in a hotel or a villa. It was right in front of the company. Square, build platforms and awnings. The venue may not be very good, but the status of those who come here in Binhai City is higher than the last. As soon as Han Qian got out of the car, Yu Shisai ran over, took Han Qian's arm and dragged him towards the crowd. Han Qian said doubtfully. What are you in a hurry for? Yu Shisai gritted his teeth angrily and whispered. Nuan, this loser, is scared. She doesn't know how to speak anymore. Almost all the people are here. What can I do if she hides in the office and won't come out? I can't even handle it anymore. Her father is supporting her now. Han Qian's face was full of black lines. Last night I vowed that nothing unexpected would happen today. When will this Kangtu King's temper change? Coming to Wen Shi's side, when she was chatting with Cheng Jin in a low voice, Han Qian said softly. Dad. Seeing Han Qian coming over, Wen Shi was relieved and sighed softly. Hey. This kid, Nuan, has been pampered by me. Uncle Cheng doesn't need you to entertain him. Shisai, you go and see Nuan. Yao and your aunt have already passed. Yu Shisai nodded and turned to leave. Han Qian sighed feebly and said weakly. Why? When Han Qian sighed, an electric car appeared in sight, and everyone present, whether they were officials or businessmen at the Yamen gate, stood up. Niu Qiudong? Han Qian took a deep breath, trotted forward and stretched out his hand to help Niu Qiudong, but the old man threw him away and cursed with a smile. Bunny, I'm not old enough to get out of the car yet. Where is this little girl Nuan Nuan? The company changed its name and reopened. Where did she go? Han Qian scratched his head and said awkwardly. She's hiding in the office. Her cowardice is just as bad as mine. What the hell, Yates? Yates, where did you die? Please bring the chair over here quickly. Yates in the crowd cursed under his breath. Open your eyes and go blind. Then everyone burst into laughter. Han Qian was very surprised that Niu Qiudong came over. Shouldn't this old man vent his anger on the same page as Lin Mend? How come you can come and support me today? Han Qian couldn't figure it out. He really didn't understand. Niu Qiudong looked Han Qian up and down and said softly. Bunny, how are the injuries on your body? This time you saved face for the Yeomanman. I will come over to support you today and prepare a pair of scissors for me when we cut the ribbon later. Han Qian chuckled. My body is much stronger. If you want to cut the ribbon, it will be a good feeling. At this time, Yates moved the chair over, and Niu Qiudong frowned. I'm sitting in the middle of the road. How's that for me? I can just find a place to sit and you can go about your business. Yates was already cursing in his heart as he said these words. Niu Qiudong turned around and walked to a seat not far away and sat down. Next to him was Tu Xiao. Tu Xiao was so disgusted by this that the old man did it on purpose. Not long after, Han Qian's people arrived. Mercedes-Benz 600, BMW 520, Raptor, Audi R8, Subaru, GL8, etc. were like a convoy. The last one was a Maybach with a Beijing license plate. Everyone got off the car and looked at each other with a smile. Wu Saiquan pushed Luo Shen's wheelchair. Su Liang carried a stack of foam billboards on his shoulders. These people arrived. When Han Qian was stunned, Wen Shi and Cheng Jin appeared on his left and right. Wen Shi held his chin and whispered softly. Xiao Qian, this is your team, right? Several heads of the Glory Group, the richest man in Binhai City, the person with real power from the tax bureau, the old director of the Shuncheng Group, the heir to the Luo family in Beijing, and a few clever little guys. Man, this lineup is really luxurious. Han Qian stood up and looked at his father-in-law, wanting to speak, but Cheng Jin beside him chuckled. It's not just luxury. If these people get into a temper together, there will be a few layers of dust falling in front of the Yamen door. Wenshu. I never understand why your daughter divorced the bastard. When she snorted coldly, while Han Qian hurriedly ran forward, stepped forward to help Qian Ling's arm, and said respectfully. Auntie. You are here. Qian Ling patted Han Qian's head lovingly and smiled. Xiao Nuan's new company is cutting the ribbon, how can I not come? I heard that you had your tongue stung by a bee a few days ago. Let me see how it goes. Han Qian stuck out his tongue and Qian Ling laughed and cursed. You are not allowed to ride motorcycles anymore. Do you hear me? I won't ride anymore, I won't ride anymore, it's your decision. Where's Xiao Nuan? This question came up again. Han Qian covered his forehead and sighed weakly. At this time, Yan Qingqing spoke with disdain. Her cowardice and temper are as bad as mine. She probably doesn't dare to go out because there are so many people. Why should this piece of trash run a company? Just go home and have a baby. Everyone laughed, and their arrival also made the square lively. Qian Ling walked up and sat next to Niu Qiudong, greeted Tu Xiao with a smile, and then talked softly with Niu Qiudong. They are all old acquaintances. Luo Shen was also pushed into the crowd by Wu Sijuan to talk, leaving Han Qian and Su Liang. The latter handed Han Qian a cigarette, and Han Qian lit it and said softly. What are you carrying? Money. I'll put it on the table, and you can go do your work. After saying that, Suliang walked up to the stage and placed the foam board in his hand on it. Looking at zero on it, Han Qian felt dizzy. Best friend Cai Qinghu wishes Changrong Group a happy opening and a gift of 10 million. Best friend Yan Qingqing wishes Changrong Group a happy opening and a gift of 10 million. Best friend Ji Jing wishes Changrong Group good luck in opening and gives her a 5 million gift. My sister Qianwan wishes her sister Nuan good luck in opening her business and gives her a gift of 5 million. The elder Qianling wished her nephew-in-law good luck in opening her business and gave her a gift of 5 million. Friend Lu Guangming wished Mr. Wen good luck in opening his business and gave him a gift of 2 million. Good friend Gao Xing wished Mr. Wen good luck in opening his business and gave him a gift of 2 million. Friend Wu Siguan wished Mr. Wen good luck in opening his business and gave him a gift of 1 million. My friend Yates wished the sisters good luck in opening their business and gave them a gift of 600,000 yuan. Tu Kun, the junior, wished his aunt good luck in opening her business and gave her a gift of 600,000 yuan. These signs were pasted on the red cloth behind the stage by Suliang. Finally, Suliang took out the red sign, smiled mysteriously at Han Qian, and then pasted it in the middle of the background. Ex-husband Han Qian wished his ex-wife Wen Nuan good luck in starting a business and a prosperous business, and gave her 15 million as a gift. Seeing this sign, Han Qian was so angry that he felt itchy at all. He turned his head to look at Cai Qinghu and Yan Qingqing and said angrily. You too. Cai Qinghu replied with an arrogant expression. Money, 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 I have money. I am willing to buy things that are difficult to buy with money. This woman is inhumane. Han Qian was holding his hands and just about to escape when a roar of motor came from the distance. A Toyota Domineering with a military license plate stopped at the entrance of the square. The door was roughly pushed open, and a rugged man with a height of 1.9 meters walked out. Get out of the car and shout loudly. Han Qian, you're not too late, buddy. I wanted to pull a few semi-automatics for you as a salute. Han Qian smiled, stepped forward, opened his arms, and cursed with a smile. How about you just bring me 2 mountain cannons? The rugged man came over and gave Han Qian a solid hug. When she looked at this strange, sturdy young man and frowned. Cheng Jin, do you know this person? Cheng Jin shook his head. I haven't seen him before, but I can probably guess who it is. It should be the second-generation ancestor of the provincial capital military region, the grandson of Zhao Lihua. Zhao Hanqing. Should be. Why do I feel that you are not surprised at all? After saying this, Cheng Jin glared at Han Qian's back and whispered. I made the call to Zhao Lihua, and your uncle also called. Zhao Lihua's son has been promoted to deputy master. I don't understand that Han Qian has wasted so much effort, and it's only the second-generation ancestor who comes to show his face. When she shook his head. Probably not. This bastard of mine never does business at a loss. Do you think it's possible? Possible. Cheng Jin didn't let when she finish what he said. At this time, Han Qian and Zhao Hanqing walked over, arm in arm, and came to Yan Qingqing and Cai Qinghu. Without waiting for Han Qian's introduction, Zhao Hanqing spoke loudly. 2 brothers and sisters, this is the first time we meet, please take care of me. Cai Qinghu and Yan Qingqing's eyes instantly burned with anger, and Yan Qingqing gritted her teeth and said fiercely. Shut up. Zhao Hanqing scratched his head and said awkwardly. Sorry. Sorry. I forgot that we were outside, right? Mr. Yan? Your sister worked hard in the army. She escaped twice but was caught by me. She is still in the car now. She is worried about being scolded by her brother-in-law. No, come down. Yan Qingqing ignored Zhao Hanqing and ran all the way to Land Rover to find Yan Yingying. Zhao Hanqing chuckled, winked at Han Qian, then strode towards Niu Qiudong and bowed. Secretary Niu. My father is looking for Zhao Lin, the junior Zhao Hanqing. After saying that, he stood up and chuckled. Han Qian's brother. The meaning couldn't be more obvious. Niu Qiudong stood up and laughed. A child from the military region? Not bad. I heard that your father gave birth to an assistant division commander a few days ago. You should work hard too. Zhao Hanqing scratched his head and said with a naive smile. I'm just a loser, I have no future. On the 10th floor of the company, Li Jinhe was so angry that his face turned pale, while nursery rhymes and poetry pulled him warmly and begged. Miss, just go downstairs, they can't eat you. Nuan grasped the door frame with both hands and whispered softly. Isn't Han Qian down below? Let him cut the ribbon. As soon as he said this, Li Jinhe burst into a scream, grabbed the water glass on the table and threw it at Wen Nuan. The teacup flew past Wen's scalp, and Wen turned around and ran downstairs. When Li Jinhe got angry, he didn't distinguish between men and women, and he didn't care whether you were my daughter or not. Fight to death. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 662. Wu Qingxi acted as the host and worked hard to make the ceremony proceed. At this moment, Han Qian was also a little anxious. Why didn't the warmth come down? Zhao Hanqing on the side laughed softly. Brother, your ex-wife is a little unreliable, isn't she? I think Mr. Yan is pretty good, the tall one at the Yamen gate is fine too. I like petite girls. Han Qian covered his forehead and sighed weakly. Old Zhao. Don't mess around here, my father-in-law is still there. I asked you to come here to calm down the situation for me and scare Niu Qiudong. Zhao Hanqing glanced at Niu Qiudong and said softly. Shock him. Cheng Jin's wife's family is enough. Don't say that the reason you went to all the trouble to ask Li Jinhan to push my father up was just to let me resist Niu Qiudong's attack on you. Aren't you underestimating your talents? Okay, Lao Zhao, you can beat him Niu Qiudong to death. I have to go get Nuan over. Let's talk later. Han Qian got up and trotted into the company. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Wen Nuan in a white suit trotting over. When he saw Han Qian, he exclaimed and threw himself into his arms. Mom wants to beat me. Now I want to beat you up. You can't run up the stairs when your company opens. Hurry up, Wu Qingxi can't stand it any longer. Brother Qian, go ahead. The company has given it to you. Do you dare to say this in front of Mom? If you don't dare, just come with me. Wen Nuan was forcefully dragged to the square. When she came out, Yates trotted over and brought a piece of paper. Dr. Wen. Get acquainted with it first. If you can't memorize it and go on stage, just recite it. Some people are already impatient with waiting. Let's do it quickly. Mr. Han, the Lin family is here. Han Qian pushed the warmth to Yates and frowned. I understand, leave the warmth to you, I'll go over there. Everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Wen Nuan appear. People who were about to leave also sat down, especially the people at the Yamen gate. They wanted to know what field Chang Rong group would be involved in now. Han Qian walked to Wen Shi and smiled at Lin Meng. Mr. Lin. Lin Meng and others looked at Han Qian and smiled. The way my niece-in-law looks like me when I was young is very chic. After saying this, Wen Shi smiled. Since my niece is fine here, I will go back first, Wen Shu. We have been friends for many years. This time, I have the intention to retain the warmth and joy, but I can't retain the bird that wants to fly in the sky. That's it, I'm going back first. Come as soon as you say, leave as soon as you say. Han Qian narrowed his eyes and said coldly. Dad, Did this old guy do it on purpose? Everyone in the city knows that Nuan's nickname is Little Phoenix. He compared Nuan to a bird? Ha, he doesn't have a long memory. When she curled her lips and said disdainfully, the old guy has only dared to hide behind and play tricks all his life. He is a shady thing. How many good things do you expect him to say? This time you tricked him and almost bankrupted him. Why did he come here today? To cause trouble for himself. Huh? You are right. He is very jealous. Has he warmed up? Well, my mother is going to beat her up. When she shrugged and turned to look for Li Jinhe. When she left, and Zhao Hanqing came over and whispered. Old man Niu Qiudong is gone, and I'm almost going back. The deal between us has already begun, so I won't regret it. I guarantee your innocence about Feng Lun. I don't care about other things, so I will with this ability, even if you don't let Li Jinhan help, my father can climb to the position of assistant master within 2 years. Han Qian nodded lightly. That's enough. What I'm worried about is that this old guy suddenly forged a fake document to frame me. You can help me check it out when you get back. Nu. How could there be so much love at first sight and brotherhood? They almost started fighting when they first met. If Han Qian hadn't asked Cheng Jin and Li Jinhan for help, how would he have known that Zhao Lin wanted to be promoted? This plan was told by Cheng Jin to Han Qian. If he wanted Zhao Hanqing to be a protective umbrella, he would start from his father's side. Li Jinhan didn't mind letting the Zhao family owe him a favor. When it came to the final ribbon-cutting stage, Cai Qinghu came on stage. Cheng Jin, Lu Guangming, Tu Xiao, etc. all participated in the ribbon-cutting. Only Han Qian and Wen Shu did not go up to join in the fun. Han Qian still had a lot to do. After the ribbon-cutting was over, Wen Nuan thanked everyone who came and chatted about future cooperation. They didn't leave until noon. Wen Nuan pinched Cai Qinghu's neck and asked Han Qian what was going on with that brand. Han Qian found Yan Qingqing in the flower bed. Looking at the girl sitting on the ground holding her knees, Han Qian knelt down and said softly. Are you feeling distressed? It was rare for the Asha Empress to have red eyes, rest her chin on her knees, and speak softly. She's darker, her skin is no longer smooth, and she's grown up. She doesn't cry and begs me to go home. But the more mature she becomes, the more I feel sorry for her, Han Qian. Yan Qingqing raised her head, her eyes were very red, and she knew she had cried just now. Han Qian stretched out his hand to wipe away the tears on Empress Yasha's face and said softly. Why don't you bring Yingying back, and don't expect her to stand out and get some experience. Now Lushenga doesn't dare to do anything to your people around me, and it's safe. Yan Qingqing shook her head. She's not coming back. She didn't scold me. Scold. I talked a lot. I just talked with Zhao Hanqing's girlfriend. The warm uncle and Zhao Hanqing take good care of Yingying. Now she has gone to work as a clerical worker. I just feel sorry for her. It's okay. Then we won't cry anymore. If we miss Yingying, we will drive to see her. The soldier is very close to her in our province. It only takes 3 or 4 hours to drive. Okay. Everyone has left, so let's go back to. The warmth is there. To catch the murderer. Yan Qingqing took Han Qian's hand and stood up, muttering softly. Cai Qinghu and I did it on purpose. Looking at the text message on his phone, Han Qian let go of Yan Qingqing's hand, said something was wrong, and then ran towards the entrance of the underground garage. Something really happened. When I arrived at the underground garage, I searched for a long time before I saw Guan Yunbiao, Sul Yang, and others. Xiaohe was holding a steel pipe in his hand, and the suit on his body was full of dust and blood stains. 5 or 6 men were lying at his feet, tattooed with dragon thorns. Phoenix, big shoulders and round waist. Their hands and feet were tied and their mouths were covered with tape. Han Qian trotted forward and frowned. What happened? Guan Yunbiao pointed at the 5 men on the ground and gritted his teeth. Brother Han, I felt something was wrong the moment I saw Niu Qiudong sitting next to my master, so I asked Xiao Hai to lead someone to check. As a result, I found these guys at the exit of the underground garage. Each of them had a machete. After hearing this, Han Qian frowned, and then Suliang said again. If Niu Qiudong is injured, the first person to suspect is Tu Xiao, and then Nuan Nuan. After all, Chang Rong is alone with Nuan Nuan now. Xiao Hai has already asked. They are here for Niu Qiudong. As for who sent them, they don't know. Say, what should we do now? Han Qian was a little confused. If he sent them to the Yamen gate and locked them up, they would definitely say that they were beaten into submission. Han Qian forced them to say so. But if they were not sent to the Yamen gate, nothing could be done to them. Even if it is sent in, if it is sent by the Lin family, it will probably be released in a few days. At this time, a man lying on the ground suddenly spoke. Yes. It was Lu Shenga who asked us to come over and kill Niu Qiudong. After saying this, Han Qian smiled. Almost forgetting about this eunuch, Han Qian took out his mobile phone and called Lu Shenga, told Lu Shenga what the man said, and then scolded the eunuch. Lu Shenga was also confused and was playing games at home. The shit basin was just taken over? After asking for the address, Lu Shenga hung up the phone. In fact, Han Qian and the others knew that he was definitely not from Lu Shenga's faction. He was not a fool and would not provoke Han Qian at this time. Moreover, there was another thing that no one knew, only Han Qian and Qian Ling knew. Qian Ling's people have been watching Lu Shenga's every move. Qian Ling didn't tell Han Qian about this, so it's probably not Lu Shenga's fault. Han Qian bent down and groped around for a few people to find a mobile phone. He opened the call history and dialed the first number. The call was quickly connected. Han Qian did not speak. After about 3 seconds, the other party turned the phone over. I hung up and when I called again the number was empty. Okay, wait for Lu Shenga to come over in a moment. Xiaohei, please leave the person to Lu Shenga. Don't worry about other things. It's time to go to the hospital. It's time to rest. Xiaohei stays. Brother Guan, Liang let's go first. Bar. Walking into the elevator to the 10th floor, as soon as he got out of the elevator door, he saw Wen Nuan standing at the elevator door. In front of her squatted 2 girls covering their heads. Han Qian closed his eyes and sighed feebly, pulling Guan Yunbiao and Su Bright Detour. He didn't dare to care about this matter. Walking into the warm office, Han Qian got straight to the point. Someone wanted to attack Niu Qiudong at today's ribbon-cutting ceremony. They caught him. They said it was Lu Shenga who instigated it. Now he has been handed over to Lu Shenga. Old man, please remember to ask Lu Shenga for the person. Insidious. Han Qian and Lu Shenga seem to have reconciled, but they will never regard each other as friends in their hearts. There is always a possibility. What if these people are really sent by Lu Shenga? The purpose of asking Cheng Jin and Li Jinhai to find Lu Shenga is very simple. The person is missing, Lu Shenga did it, and the person is not missing, then let the Yamanman and Lu Shenga investigate together. He, Han Qian, didn't want to waste his strength. Li Jinhai asked where the person was now. Han Qian pointed to his feet. Li Jinhai went out and left. At this time, Tan Jiao handed Han Qian a glass of water and said softly. Not the Lin family. I see the Lin family is here, and Niu Qiudong left with them. Han Qian shrugged and said calmly. We have no evidence. It's useless to say anything now. The Lin family. We won't be able to bounce back for much longer. Luo Shen. Have you finished the development of the tourist area? Luo Shen made an okay gesture to Han Qian, and Han Qian took a deep breath and said calmly, "Get ready to declare war with the Lin family." After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 663. Luoshan moved very quickly and acquired the uniformed country with lightning speed. When Nuan also used his power at the Yamen Gate to begin to put pressure on Changxiang's hospital. Yan Qingqing and others secretly constructed Changxiang's hospital to interfere. All the doctors and nurses who were preparing to go to the hospital also chose to go back on their word at this time. Not only that, Yu Shisai contacted the cooperative manufacturers in Germany and asked them to find reasons to recall the equipment that had been sold. They could choose to refund half of the money for the equipment, but the equipment must be taken back. The German side was very willing to do this, as their equipment had no worries about marketability. For this reason, Yu Shisai flew to Germany specially, and this time Han Qian really assigned him a secretary. Yates. This multilingual lady. Of course, Han Qian also paid a certain price and taught Yates how to play chess for a day at his home. What's waiting now is that Changxiang can't fill the hole in the hospital. If they dare to fill it, they can only invest the excessive money from selling military uniforms into the hospital, but the money is far from enough. When the hospital was built, all warm-hearted people were contacted. Now they suddenly changed people, and they had to start over. Han Qian didn't believe that the Lin family was willing to spend time on the hospital. The development of the back mountain is the big cake. The investment prepared by the Yeomanmen this time is in the unit of 100 million, and it is very likely to be double digits. The scenic spot adopts the plan proposed by Shuncheng Group and Glory Group. A 5-kilometer plank road circles the mountain peaks and is connected to the beaches of Bingxian County and Binhai City to form a huge scenic spot. It is only a little money to make money at the Yamen Gate. You can enjoy the scenery. The establishment of hotels and other tourist facilities in the district is another point. Shuncheng, Glory, and Rock Group have jointly injected huge funds. They are willing to advance the money for the Yeomanmen, and the Yeomanmen are naturally willing to share the cake with them, but they have not started yet. Han Qian was dealing with the mess left by Wen Nuan in the 10th floor office of Chang Rong Group. This girl carelessly took Yang Lan and Wu Qingxi to go shopping. Han Qian had a slight headache and called Suliang to come over. Yes, Suliang is here, and there is a small oil bottle beside him. Why did you bring Baibei here? Suliang held Xiao Baibei on the desk, shrugged and smiled. Little Yang Jia has been saying that she wants to squander her life. I have no choice but to take her with her. Wanfang and Xian are at home with my wife. I have nothing to do at home. What? The eldest lady ran away again. Again. Han Qian smiled helplessly, pointed at the documents on the table and said with a bitter smile. Help. I just can't handle it anymore. While he was talking, Han Qian called Little Tu Kun and asked her to come over and help look after the children. Little Tu Kun was extremely reluctant. Then he heard that she was helping her aunt. The little girl readily agreed and asked if she could. I blackmailed my aunt and recently fell in love with a computer and wanted to give it to Li Jiai. Han Qian did not agree and asked her to come over happily. After hanging up the phone, Han Qian made room for Suliang to sit down, then picked up Xiao Baibei and said softly. Has your father-in-law calmed down recently? Suliang raised his head and smiled. It's not just a matter of peace and quiet. Now they treat me as my father-in-law. They go to a place where they have good wine and good food. I'm too lazy to look at their faces. Last month they said they wanted to move in together and help take care of the children. I didn't agree, but if you want to come and buy a house by yourself in the city, I don't care about the down payment, and I can still afford the mortgage. Han Qian laughed and cursed. Okay, I only have one child, Li, and some things will be over as soon as possible. When you have a child, you will have to be taken care of by your parents. Where can your parents have time? I'll take a break while you are busy. Meeting. Suliang waved to Han Qian. About half an hour later, Tu Kun reluctantly walked into the office. Han Qian ignored her and waved to Li Jiayi. Jiayi, go to your uncle Liang to study and see if you can understand this now. Li Jiayi seemed a little excited and smiled and shouted thank you to his uncle. As for Tu Kun, Han Qian caught her and asked her to play with Xiao Baibei. He seemed satisfied, which meant that he could not satisfy her little request. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Xiao Tu Kun ordered a takeaway. She was responsible for ordering, and Han Qian was responsible for consumption. There was a full table, and they chatted while eating. Li Jiayi talked about the experience he had learned in the past few hours, and Han Qian did not praise it. The scolding and the words "keep working hard" made Li Jiayi feel a little unsure. Xiao Tukan glared at Han Qian and said angrily, "Uncle, why do you want to scare Jiayi? If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's bad. What do you mean by continuing to work hard?" Han Qian shrugged and said calmly, "If you could say what you just said, I would think you are very good. But for Jiayi, all I can say is keep working hard. My expectations for him are highly different from my expectations for you, so you'd better eat well now, yelling at me to throw you downstairs." Snort. Little Tu Kun was dissatisfied, but Han Qian grabbed his ear and immediately became honest. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Li Jiayi was going to the cram school. Suliang was going to send Xiao Baibei back. Han Qian also went downstairs to send Xiao Tukan and Li Jiayi to the cram school. The two children were sitting on top of each other in the passenger seat. Han Qipo somewhat helpless, "This is why I don't like supercars, there are too few seats." Han Qian had just walked in, and before he could change his clothes, Wen Nuan came back angrily, slammed the door, and shouted at Han Qian. "Why didn't Chang Rong participate in the development of Long Hui? Give me a reason. I asked Cai Qinghu when I was shopping today, and she told me that you didn't take Chang Rong into account." Han Qian nodded, unbuttoned his shirt and threw it into the small basket in the bathroom, smiling. "Yes, Chang Rong was not included in Long Hui's development plan. Besides, aren't you planning to do real estate? Why are you so concerned about the scenic spot? Come on, let me see what clothes you have bought." Wen Nuan glared at Han Qian, put down the packaging bag in his hand, grabbed Han Qian's ear and pressed it on the sofa, took out Yunnan Biao from the drawer, and said angrily, "What do you mean there was no Chang Rong in the plan? You don't know how energetic Yan Qingqing is today. They all went to eat cake and I was drooling on the side? No, I firmly disagree. Give me Chang Rong plus, Han Qian." After spraying Yunnan Biao, the warmth shook Han Qian's body like a baby. Han Qian lay sideways on the sofa and looked at the girl, smiling. "You have to go there to join in the fun. Isn't it good to run a safe and prosperous business? When the time comes, you will say you are tired of getting involved in the scenic spot. You will still be busy with poetry. If you start a project later, you said again that I won't give it to you, but I'm keeping Chang Rong's plan. Be good. Don't make trouble, my back is hurting these days, please give me some pressure." A pair of cold hands pressed on Han Qian's lower back and asked in a warm voice, "What plans do you have for me? Tell me about it." Han Qian lay on the sofa with his fist on his chin and said calmly, "Yates has a plan for a mountain villa. I've been observing it recently and it seems pretty good. Can you put a little more effort into it?" When the words came out, Wen Nuan was furious. He clenched his fist and punched Han Qian's lower back. Han Qian sat up with a cry of pain, then stretched out his hand to grab Wen Wen's collar. Wen Wen was slightly startled, and the next second he was picked up by Han Qian and thrown to the sofa. It was like stepping on a cat's tail. Wen Nuan screamed and rushed towards Han Qian. He put his arms around Han Qian's neck, his slender legs sandwiched Han Qian's waist, and looked at the back of his head to show Han Qian's posture. Kenichi hits a headbutt. Snapped. A slap on the butt. I have an injury on my forehead. Am I stupid? Wen Nuan gritted his teeth and looked at Han Qian and said angrily. Okay. Now that you're injured, I won't take care of you. You wait until you get hurt. Han Qian, I'll let you know what regret means. Go cook, I'm hungry. You go down first. Are you going to take your hands away first? You bastard. Han Qian hurriedly let go of his hand, and Wen Nuan sat directly on the sofa without any psychological preparation, but the hands around his neck did not separate. Han Qian let out an oops, and the next second his four lips kissed together, and his right hand was very uncomfortable. After pressing it in a very appropriate position, Han Qian raised his head and frowned. It's indeed a bit small. Wen Nuan's face turned from bright red to livid, and he kicked Han Qian in the crotch. Han Qian turned into an attack and knelt on the ground with his legs crossed. Wen Nuan said angrily to Han Qian. You're going to keep saying that my breasts are small. I'll castrate you. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. I want them to be bigger too. You think I want them to be smaller? It's so annoying. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Han Qian stood downstairs and shouted that there was no food. He asked Nuan if he wanted to go downstairs to buy food together. Wen Nuan angrily asked Han Qian to buy crabs. Han Qian ran away, but Wen Nuan never expected that Han Qian would actually bring a pot of crabs when he came back. Nuan looked at the cooked crabs on the table and frowned. Are you out of business? Han Qian shook his head. No, I met the landlady in the supermarket. Little Tu Kun was eating at home in the evening. The lady asked you if you wanted to eat crabs, and then prepared an extra portion for me to bring to you. Real? Why are you lying to me? My eldest sister also gave me a set of crabs. Crack. Nuan broke open the crab and dropped it into his mouth, looking at Han Qian and wondering. What? It's okay, it's okay. Just be happy. Han Qian finally discovered that Wen Nuan was not free at all. She was not the kind of weak girl. Just hearing the click just now, Han Qian was afraid that Wen would be broken by him one day. It's scary just thinking about it. At night, the two of them were lying on the bed. The weather was too hot and they didn't cover themselves with quilts. Nuan rubbed himself next to Han Qian and whispered. I've touched Yan Qinking's. You must have touched it too, tell me what's the difference in size. After saying this, Han Qian turned his back to Wen Nuan and whispered. You are wrong. Yan Qingqing and I have never had any close contact, not even once. Suddenly, Han Qian trembled, and warmth spoke in his ears like a little devil. Brother Qian, does it still hurt? Let me rub it for you. Tell me. Have you had it with Ji Zheng? Feeling more and more intense, Han Qian chose to lie. Without. I dare to say that I will scare you. If you dare to tell me that, Han Qian, I will make you a eunuch tonight. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 664. Nuan has been in an irritable stage recently. There are many things that need to be handled by her in the new company. Shisai is not around, and some of her old people are getting familiar with the new working environment. So the work progress is very slow. Nuan is very urgent and very irritable. It was not once or twice that he got angry in the company. Han Qian had no choice but to call back the two girls who were traveling in Germany. If the warmth continued like this, Han Qian would go crazy first. Then news came out from the Yamen gate. After many days of meetings and surveys of enterprises in the city, the screening results of the Longhua tourist area plan were announced. Glory Group was responsible for clearing and greening the mountain, Rock Group was responsible for paving the entire plank road, Shuncheng Group was responsible for building the artificial beach, and the building was handed over to several other temporary businesses. Changxiang Group voluntarily withdrew from this bidding. Han Qian hung up the phone from Changde, jumped up on the sofa, clenched his fists and shouted loudly. "Oh yeah! What news made Han Qian so excited?" Several people in Yan Qingqing's office were a little curious, and their hearts beat a little faster. After getting excited, Han Qian picked up his suit jacket and ran out the door, regardless of the shouts of the girls behind him. He went downstairs and got on his motorcycle, put on his helmet and headed to the Yamen. He was excited about the news, but it was better to find out. Han Qian quickly ran into Cheng Jin's office. There was no one in the office. Han Qian turned around. She and Cheng Jin bumped into each other, but the water in the water glass in the old man's hand spilled on his suit. Cheng Jin handed the water glass to the permanent secretary, then slapped Han Qian on his uninjured shoulder, frowning and scolding him. "Fuzzy." Han Qian scratched his head and smiled. "I'll ask King Hu to send you a suit later. Master, tell me why the Lin family backed out of this plan this time." Cheng Jin took off his suit and said calmly. "This may not be good news for you. Zhao Lihua wanted to help his son and grandson repay a favor." Niu Qiudong was pointed in the nose and scolded by the provincial leader, telling him that if Feng Lun was caught, he would pack up his things and go home to plant seeds. Not only that, Lin Mend was also interviewed, and I heard that this time it was several big guys from the military region who came together to say hello to the provincial government office. Han Qian frowned slightly and said softly. "So the relationship between me and Zhao Hanqing is just cut off." Cheng Jin curled his lips. "It's Zhao Lihua who doesn't want his grandson to have anything to do with you. If your kid is really in the same group with Feng Lun, the Zhao family won't be able to explain it clearly with 100 words. In fact, I have always disagreed with you and Zhao. The family has a relationship, this time Zhao Lihua directly returns the favor, so you should be more peaceful." The surprise came too suddenly, and Han Qian was a little confused. He didn't want to get too close to Zhao Hanqing. The children in the military compound were all thieves. The city was deep and getting along was too tiring. The Zhao family was directly involved in this matter. "Shut up Niu Qiudong and Lin Mend. Just asking Li Jinhan to say a word can bring such a huge benefit. It is estimated that this is not as simple as a sentence." Han Qian thought about whether he should go to see Li Jinhan one day, and then the idea disappeared in his head. He asked Li Jinhan to speak warmly and openly. It was better to go home and talk to Li Jinhan proactively. "Let's discuss it warmly. The most important thing now is to be happy." The Lin family did not hesitate to sell the military uniforms and the hospital in order to establish a commercial institution in the Longhua scenic area. Now they have the money, but the opportunity is gone. Is there anything more worthy of happiness than this? Han Qian smiled innocently, and Cheng Jin waved his hand. Go, let's play. By the way, let me ask you something, did Feng Lun really break the law just to kill Feng's Haida? No. I know, let's go back and share the joy. There is another condition. This time Wu Qingxi will continue to be the spokesperson for the Yamen Gate. She will work for nothing if she has no money. Just provide food. I went downstairs to call Wen Nuan to share the news. Unexpectedly, the girl was getting angry. After hearing what Han Qian said, she just said a word. Give me the Lin family's share. Bye-bye. Han Qian hung up the phone and returned to Glory. He distributed the news to several allies on the way. Everyone was surprised when they got the news. They didn't receive any news. Luo Shen reacted first and asked if Zhao Hanqing had taken action. There was no need to keep the matter secret, and Han Qian admitted it frankly. Luo Shen also breathed a sigh of relief on the phone. Her heart had been in suspense since she started preparing to attack the Lin family. This time she finally came to fruition, and her plan was considered a big step forward. Returning to Yan Qingqing's office, Gao Jixi, Lu Guangming, Tu Xiao and others had already arrived. Han Qian turned around and closed the door. Then he pinched his waist with his hands, raised his head and laughed. He laughed at the Lin family for spending money to buy Wenwen's shares, and at the Lin family and his son. Being plotted this time, Lin Zongheng was embarrassed for the first time by Xiao Xiao. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. How about you being a top student who graduated from a famous school? So what if you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth? I am a peasant who is willing to cut himself off to drag you into the water. In fact, from the time Lin Zongheng proposed the plan and Qianling told Han Qian that he did not want him to become the same person as Lu Shenga, Han Qian had already begun to brew the current plan. It can be said that except for Ho Er's conviction and suicide, every other step has been in Han Qian's plan. Including Luoshan being seriously injured, including Kui Li appearing. Han Qian never thought that he would die. When Han Qian was excited, Li Guangming stood up and raised his hands. Han Qian walked forward with a smile and raised his hands. 4 palms collided 2 by 2 in the air. The two of them grinned widely. Han Qian laughed at the unplanned surprise, and Lu Guangming laughed that he had made the right bet. Yan Qingqing held her chin with one hand and looked at Han Qian. He had not been so happy for a long time. He even said that Yan Qingqing had never seen Han Qian so happy. How happy and crazy he was now, waiting for the plan. How depressed I feel. The pressure he was facing was heavier than his life. It can be said that these people gave their lives to Han Qian. Han Qian wants to keep them safe. Gao Xingxing held a Tu Xiao cigar in his mouth, crossed his legs and grinned. Master Han. Although I did not participate in this second plan, I would like to hear from you the detailed steps from the beginning of this plan to the present. I like the feeling of laying out the overall situation. After finishing his words, Luo Shen pushed open the door and entered with a faint smile. I also want to know. Han Qian looked at everyone in the office and grinned. Hey, I'm afraid you'll laugh at me if I say it. Lu Guangming laughed and cursed. Are you kidding? We haven't lived enough yet. Brother. My dear brother, before you give us the plan, could you give me the overall plan of Long Huiwai first? You are like toothpaste. Squeeze a little more. At one point, we are anxious. Yes. Han Qian, it would be better for you to take it out. Luo Shen also spoke at this time. This time Han Qian was confused and tilted his head in confusion. Planning? Didn't I give it to you earlier? Didn't Mr. Yan show it to you? After saying this, Yan Qingqing frowned. When did you give it to me? I threw it in your drawer half a month ago. Check to see if there is a USB flash drive in your drawer. I was too lazy to write, so I told Liang about the detailed plan he made. Don't tell me you haven't read it yet. While talking, Yan Qingqing lowered her head and opened the drawer. As expected, there was a USB flash drive inside, but the USB flash drive was so tattered that only one core was left. The outer packaging was gone, and it was only as big as a fingernail. Yan Qingqing held the USB flash drive and frowned. You're pretending to be such an important planning project with this thing? Is it because you have no money or Suliang has no money? I've finally convinced you, forget it. I'm too lazy to talk to you, you're waiting to go home, let's go to the conference room. I can't cast the screen here. Everyone stood up. They had to look at this plan. Gao Xing'ai pushed Luo Shen's wheelchair downstairs and went to the conference room. Han Qingqing called Yang Lan and asked Yang Lan to beat Suliang up and then send him to the conference room. In the general department, Su Liang covered his face and looked at Yang Lan in horror. Sister Yang. What are you doing? It's so sudden. Yang Lan narrowed her eyes and smiled at Su Liang. Mr. Yan's order, be patient. I'll buy you something delicious later. Be good. Just pinch it and show off. Su Liang put down his hand in doubt, and a wailing sound came out the next second. In the conference room, Han Qian covered his face and explained the plan to the big screen with the remote control and infrared ray in his hand. The entrance to the scenic spot is set at the highest point of the coastal road between Binhai City and Bingxian County. This is also a reconstruction area. It should become the center of the scenic spot. An elderly art troupe will be built here and free trial for the elderly to make the tourist area more lively, so as not to be too deserted. After finishing his words, the next scene was played and he continued. Get off here and go south to Binhai City's 717 beach, and go north to Bin County Artificial Sea Beach. The total length of the plank road is more than 5 kilometers, and 5 kilometers is the straight line distance to the bottom. The renderings have not been released, so we have to wait for some time. The north side of 717 build a large square, a swimming pool, a small commercial street, a high-rise sea view, etc. The Bingxian artificial bathing beach mainly sells seafood and other seafood, and to promote the Bingxian swimsuit factory, a swimsuit plaza, a swimsuit festival, etc. will also be built. Continue to the next screen and say again. The two locations set aside here are used to build a hotel. The hotel changed from the normal situation and was built in the ravine in the middle of the mountain. The entrance is on the top floor. After entering the elevator, you go all the way down. I inspected it on the spot and found that any floor below, all rooms can enjoy the sun, and you can go straight to the seaside on the first floor. After calculating the height, high tides and even heavy rains will not affect the hotel. As for which company to hand over the hotel to, it is not within my scope. However, in this scenic area, only there are 2 hotels, you can see the rest for yourself. My face hurts. Su Liang was acquainted with these guys. He wanted to leave, but everyone refused to let him go. They grabbed their arms and stayed in the conference room. As for Luo Shen, he was poaching people openly. Mr. Su, Rock Group welcomes you at any time. After saying this, Su Liang raised his hands in surrender. Miss Luo, please let me go. I can live for a few more years. If Sister Yang finds out about this, I will be punished again. Let's chat. If you don't understand, ask Han Qian, his plan. I am made to polish the pen. Yan Qingqing cast a provocative look at Luo Shen and said softly. Go and collect the bonus, Xiao Yang Jia has already prepared it for you. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will resign. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 665. After seeing the plan, these guys looked as if they had just smoked a big cigarette, their faces full of satisfaction, while Han Qian's face was filled with contempt. You guys are so lazy. Take money, take money, take money. I can't make a penny from developing a tourist area and I have to prepare a plan for you. No. I want remuneration. After saying this, Luo Shen smiled lightly. When my legs are healed, I'll pay you back with my flesh. No, the price of pork has dropped. It costs 9 yuan a pound. Your 100 or 10 pounds are worthless. Let me first say that this plan will be sent to the Yeomanman. If you want to change it, don't come to me and Su Liang, we won't get involved in this matter, and Wen Nuan won't get involved this time either, she has other tasks. Lu Guangming said with a naive smile. I know, what kind of reward do you want? I see that you have been driving Qian Dong's niece's car recently. What kind of car do you want? Just tell me. You can choose from around 2 million. Han Qian smiled and said. Brother Lu, I really need a car. I'm pretty good at riding a motorcycle now, but what the hell? The Porsche belongs to my mother-in-law. I got it hit and scrapped. Can you choose one to give to my mother-in-law? Don't worry about this. Your brain is more valuable than gold. I will send the car over in a few days. Also, if you want to buy a car, I have a license plate here. Lu Guangming agreed happily. Compared with the money he made this time, a car worth over 1 million yuan was just a small piece of shit. Mentioning the license plate, Han Qian remembered the recent quarrel between Wen Nuan and him. Recently, Wen Nuan got Lao Wen's license plate and put it on her Romeo. He also told Han Qian to go to his mother-in-law to get the license plate and put it on her Romeo. 4321, Han Qian hangs 1234. Han Qian has always been embarrassed to speak. It's not that his mother-in-law doesn't want to give it, but she is really embarrassed to ask for it. The license plate of Cai Qinghu's GTR is her birthday, and Han Qian really doesn't dare to change it. Seeing that Han Qian didn't agree and Lu Guangming didn't force it, Yan Qingqing knew what was going on. At this time, Gao Zhishi asked Han Qian again about his plan, and Han Qian came back to his senses and smiled. Then I'll be nagging. If I want to talk about the beginning of the plan, it's far away. Han Qian was right. If we want to talk about the plan to deal with the Lin family, we can start from when Lin Zongheng bought his leg. But the first step is to go to the capital once in a while to make an appointment with Lu Shenge and Luo Fu. Find a way to force Lu Shenge and Luo Shen out. When Han Qian said this, Luo Shen frowned. She was there that night. The appointment with Lu Shengguo was to force Lu Shenge to return from Binhai City. In Binhai City, Han Qian, Lu Shenge, and Lin Zongheng pinched her very hard. Now Han Qian suddenly sent Lu Shenge to the capital just to disgust him. The appearance of Luo Shen later helped. Han Qian's small favor also led to his own death. After returning to Binhai City, he deliberately released the news to make Lin Zongheng curious about what they talked about in the capital, and then went to Changxiang Group. Han Qian bet that Lin Zongheng would definitely ask him about this matter, and then deliberately ignored him. Sun Tzu was already confused, and later told him that he didn't regard him as an enemy at all and didn't take him seriously. In this way, Lin Zongheng will find ways to prove himself. This is a matter of man's dignity. Han Qian understands it, and so does Lin Zongheng, but Han Qian has always suspected that Go Daipao is related to Lin Zongheng. Han Qian's original plan was to bring Go Daipao back to kill him, or kill Lu Shenge. No matter who he killed, they were allies against Go Daipao, but Lin Zongheng had no choice. This bastard chose to be patient and let Han Qian and Lu Shenge watch his performance as audiences to prove himself. When Lin Zongheng chose Luo Shen as a stepping stone, Han Qian was indeed confused for a few days. After receiving the confirmation that he would attack Luo Shen at the party, Han Qian began to make plans. But taking into account the abilities of Lin Meng and others and some of the things Niu Qiudong had done to him, Han Qian used Wu Qingxi as a threat to force Feng Lun to come back and cause trouble for him. Regardless of whether Feng Lun comes back or not, the recording of the phone call is there, which can prove that Feng Lun has lost his temper. Having said this, Han Qian whispered to Luo Shen. I'm not sure what kind of relationship Lin Zongheng had with you at that time, and I'm not sure whether the two of you will join forces to harm me, so I can't tell you the news in advance. I'm sorry. Luo Shen smiled lightly. No need, it's a blessing in disguise. Then Han Qian told the plan again. That night, regardless of whether Kui Li showed up or not, Han Qian would secretly tell Niu Qiudong, Cheng Jin, and Li Jinhai that Feng Lun and Kui Li had been here, because it was Han Qian who leaked the news that Feng Lun was in the east of the city and Kui Li was in the west. But later Han Qian announced that the reason why Kui Li had not come was to threaten the Yamanmen. If Niu Qiudong dared to take sides in this matter and find fault in the eggs, Han Qian would release the news that Feng Lun and Kui Li appeared at the party. After going out and asking Cai Qinghu to return to the provincial government office, Niu Qiudong couldn't bear the pressure after tracing, he didn't dare. For example, it was announced at the Yamen gate that all the dead people had nothing to do with Han Qian. For this purpose, the reason for taking the risk to prevent Luo Shen from getting into trouble is that Han Qian needs a helper, and Lu Sheng counts for half, he needs one. I want a helper who will never join forces with Lin Zongheng. Luo Shen was the most suitable, so he chose not to let Luo Shen die. At the same time, there were two reasons for not letting Luo Shen die. He didn't want Lin Zongheng to swallow up the Luo family and become stronger. The second reason was that he didn't want her to die. As for the specific reason for the second reason, Han Qian did not say. Afterwards, Luo Shen's anger will definitely take revenge, kill Wei Tiancheng, let Wen Nuan take the opportunity to leave Changxiang and take over Huishan, making Luo Shen seem convenient. The plan is that simple. There are some details that Han Qian didn't say, that is, Wei Tiancheng really wanted to kill him, and Kui Li really came. After talking about the plan, everyone looked at Han Qian. Everyone's expression was different. Tu Xiao's confusion, Gao Xing's fear, Lu Guangming's appreciation and Luo Shen's resentment. The woman looked at Han Qian resentfully and whispered, "I am just a pawn in your plan." Han Qian smiled. "We are friends." Yan Qingqing said immediately. "Ordinary friends." Han Qian said that his plan is to trust everyone here. "I hope that Han Qian will treat you sincerely and that you will also be sincere in return." Everyone nodded. Gao Xingchen touched his chin and sighed. "Master Han, did the plan all develop as you expected, or did you keep changing the plan to suit this matter?" Han Qian tilted his head, thought for a while, and smiled. "The former is 80% except for Lin Zongheng's grandson's evil hand and Wei Tianquan's exposure, the others were all expected. I didn't leave in a hurry under the cliff that night because I wanted to create a kind of Kui Li or Feng Lun came here. Now it can be said that the advance plan has been successful, and the follow-up plan has also begun. Anyway, don't talk to the Lin family recently, and don't provoke them. You can make a fortune in silence, but you can't make a fortune in one bite. Fatties, Lin Mend has a deep foundation in the city." Gao Xiaoxi said again. "Does Lu Shenge know that you are using him?" Han Qian curled his lips in disdain. "Does he know what he has to do with me? He wanted to go there, but he didn't want to die. When he got Tang Wei back, forget it, otherwise we wouldn't be friends. In the end, I would go home to plant seeds. Land, or he becomes a monk and becomes a monk, that's the two outcomes, right? I forgot to mention something important. Now as long as Changxiang's shareholders sell their shares, you will help me collect them. After all, I am poor and can't get them. Offer money, but don't accept it blatantly. Do it secretly and do nothing after receiving the shares. I will tell you to take action when you feel it's about the same." Several people nodded again, and Luo Shen cursed in a low voice. "Han Qian, you are not unjust for being injured at all. You deserve to be unable to sleep at night because of your scheming attitude, and you deserve to have a headache because of a woman." Having said this, Luo Shen suddenly raised his head, his eyes shining. "You are so insidious, I like it so much. Bot, Luo Shen, please be normal. Han Qian doesn't fall in love." Yan Qingqing opened her mouth to defend, and Luo Shen narrowed his eyes and smiled. "I'm not in love. I told Han Qian that if he marries me, I can take care of my children at home, play mahjong, go shopping, and spend money. All the Luo family will be left to him alone, and he will be the emperor of my Luo family." After saying this, everyone looked at Han Qian again, especially Yan Qingqing. Her eyes were filled with murderous intent. Han Qian panicked and quickly explained. "You're talking nonsense. You asked your child to have your last name. Why didn't you say it?" Luo Shen looked at Han Qian and said quietly. Because I don't worry about this anymore. After saying this, Han Qian stood up. You guys are chatting, I'm leaving first. As we continue chatting, Ching Ching has already thought about what kind of dumplings to make for me. I still have something to do, goodbye. After saying that, she turned around and left. Yan Ching Ching frowned and shouted. Why are you going? Eat lunch. I'm hungry. Hearing this sentence, everyone sighed. Such a guy whose head is more precious than gold is so lazy that people want to beat him to death. If he wants to be more diligent and ruthless, he will definitely not do it in the city now. It's like this poor person. Han Qian left, and everyone could only talk about the scenic spot. Go back to the general department and ask Yang Lan to borrow a car. The McLaren car keys were replaced by Bora keys. He was going to pick up someone at the airport. He made a call to 2 girls in Germany yesterday and it is estimated that he will arrive at this time today. Driving a white Bora, Yang Ian's car was very clean. The decorations in the car were either pink or dolls, which made Han Qian feel embarrassed to smoke. After waiting at the airport for about an hour, the 2 girls came out dragging their suitcases. Wearing bright red yushasai, bloomers, and tights, this strange outfit showed off her beauty. Yushasai was originally whiter than the average yellow person, and she had long blonde hair. The beauty of the combination of East and West will make people look at her involuntarily. Next to her, Yates is wearing a white suit, looking like a proper urban beauty. When Yushasai saw Han Qian, he threw away the suitcase in his hand and ran over, opening his arms for a hug. Yates spoke. He's injured. Han Qian smiled, stepped forward and hugged Yushasai, saying softly. Thanks for your hard work. Then he walked forward and took the suitcases from the 2 girls, smiling lightly. No matter what, I'm a man too. Let's go. I'll treat you 2 to some banh mian. Put on the dumplings and put on the noodles. This is a custom. Don't refuse. Yushasai smiled and said yes, and Yates hummed softly. This was the first time she was picked up at the airport.